So you are stuck in the cycle of porn addiction or the addiction to adult content. What happened is that these porn companies, they use a system called dopamine to actually keep you addicted to this. But I will talk about it more in this video. But before talking about all of that, who am I? My name is Wesley, and my mission is to help prevent 1,000 men from killing themselves because of their addiction to adult content. Literally getting to suicidal thoughts because of this porn addiction. These are my type of videos, and if that interests you, make sure you subscribe. Also, aren't you tired of feeling tired? You don't even realize the impact that this porn addiction has on your life. And on this, I'll actually take myself as an example. When I was still addicted to this, every day I was fatigued, I was having no energy, I was tired all day. I actually talked about this situation in previous videos, but I was having no energy. I was sleeping throughout the day, I was doing rest. When I was waking up in the morning, I was already tired. I just slept for 8 full hours, but even though I just slept for 8 hours, I was tired. And why is that? Further in my life, when I finally got free from this porn addiction, I realized that it was all because of this. The fact that when you are fapping yourself to these adult content, in your brain, you kind of visualize yourself actually doing the thing with the girl, right? That's the whole point of you going and fapping, right? But because you visualize yourself doing this, your brain becomes exhausted again. That's why you actually have this big crash, this big down, right? Your brain also have this big crash, this big down. So you don't have the physical exhaustion, but you have the mental exhaustion. And you don't have the physical exhaustion because you're not actually fucking the woman, right? You're just kind of virtually fucking her. But what happened is that if you actually fucked a girl in your life, right? You know that it's kind of like it demands energy, right? You don't finish fucking and nobody sweat and everything's alright, right? It's like a sport in its own. It's a thing to do in its own, and it's actually hard, right? It can be really hard. But what happened? You impose that to your mental, to your brain, every day for maybe past 7 years, right? So it's maybe been 7 years non-stop, every day or at least once every 2 days, sometimes more than once in the same day, that you've been fapping yourself. So for your brain, you've been fucking a girl for the past 7 years non-stop every day. So your brain is exhausted, and I actually understand him, right? I kind of relate to him. Like, how exhausted can it be? He's fucking every day for the past 7 years, non-stop. Like, he needs to rest, he needs to calm down, but he can't calm down because he keeps on having this big dose of dopamine from that. So that's why you're actually exhausted. And you never realized the potential of your energy up until the point where you quit this for good. This was one of the big motivators that I had. When I finally quit for good, what happened? I had such energy, and right now I still have energy, right? I'm still free. But I directly see the big change that I had. Before, I was sleeping throughout the day and I was still fatigued. Every day when I wake up, I would feel fatigued. Right now, I'm sleeping still 8 hours, right? I still have a great schedule of sleeping. But when I go in my bed, I fall asleep directly. When I wake up in the morning, I'm not even tired. I'm directly out of the bed, ready to work. And in fact, the moment I wake up, I work directly. I don't do anything else. I don't do like go on my phone, look on Instagram, I don't know. I wake up and I'm directly having enough energy to start working directly. Like, that's the point of energy you got when you finally get free. But on this, don't take my words for it. Actually, I need you free from this, and I need you to taste them. Once you taste it, you might never go back, right? But I'm just saying, you don't take my words for it. Actually, free yourself. If you feel like you need help in order to free yourself, I still offer a thing that you might be interested in. It's in the first link down in the description. On that, I'll continue directly with the subject of this video. Before actually talking about the dopamine, I need to talk about what is the dopamine, right? Dopamine is kind of a process where you get rewards depending on what you did. And this was implemented a while ago when we were still like not young, but I mean like prehistoric and things, in order for you to survive. So everything that thrives on survivability, like reproducing with others, eating in order to survive, drinking water in order to survive, all these things that makes your species evolve, this brings dopamine to your brain. So it's kind of, if you know a little bit about, not AI, but like machine learning, I don't know if it's really that in English, but you still get what I mean. AI, they get rewards and consequences in order for them to develop. So if you watch a video like that, where the AI starts and it's maybe running a race and it has to run the race the faster that it can, but every time it makes a turn, if it improves the time, you get a reward, and if it decreases the time, then you get a consequence. And what happened? The generation after generation, people tend to do better and better, because every time they do better, they get a reward, and people are attracted to rewards. And that's the same with your brain. He's doing the same principle. When you do, well, not right now, but before, when you were doing great things in order to survive, you were receiving dopamine. And when you're doing bad things in order to not survive, right? So everything that is other than surviving, then your brain will not get any dopamine. And your brain is attracted to dopamine, as machine learning is attracted to the rewards. But what happened is that we all, as humans, put some scientific to actually study this dopamine system, because it's important, right? It can lead people to make choices depending on the dopamine that they will get from this. So this is how our brain evolved, and scientific kind of took advantage of it and talked about it a lot, but people to make money took advantage of it. An example of that is video games. When you play video games, you get this dopamine because, hey, I achieved this. Oh, I beat that person. I'm this good. So this brings you dopamine, because before we were doing wars, and in wars, the goal of war is to kill others. And when you kill others in war, what happened? You get dopamine. But like, you get dopamine because you survived. So it's the same principle I talked about. And now what happened? As I talked about previously, when you reproduce, you get dopamine. But what happened? There is corn companies that now have been created, and their reason to exist is actually to hijack this system, to make you feel like you reproduced even though you didn't, by actually watching stuff on the internet and making you visualize yourself actually reproducing. And by doing that, this brings you dopamine even though you did nothing, right? You didn't fuck a girl, you didn't make any baby, right? But you still get all the dopamine from that. And the dopamine from that is so great that, like, that's why you keep on doing it. But at a point, what happened is that you're not actually putting in any efforts. So your brain right now has the dopamine of someone who made maybe 800 babies, but you didn't make 800 babies. And you can kind of see how this like becomes fucked up. You are supposed to make babies in order to like increase the survivability. So that's how your brain was kind of constructed about. And what happened? You don't do it. Instead of actually doing your whole mission as a guy, as a man, well, you might have other mission, but I mean, as a survivability aspect, your whole mission is just to reproduce, to have another living thing taking your life and continuing your family, right? So this is your whole survivability aspect goal. And you hijack this by actually going and fapping to this stuff online in internet. What happened is that after, you might even have thoughts like, oh, but I don't want to make babies. Where before, if you ask anyone in life, their reason for survivability, the reason you're put there, is not just to make babies, but it's to make babies, right? It's the fundamental core essence of masculinity, right? Of you being a guy right now, you were supposed to have the goal of at least making one baby to pursue your thing, right? Your family. But people now have different kind of thinking, because what happened? They are satisfied with their situation. They're satisfied because they know that within 2 clicks they can have access to naked women, and it's plenty of them. They have all shapes and form and colors and everything, right? Just from 2 clicks away, they can even fuck, like, mentally, people that don't even exist, right? Like hentai and stuff like that, right? They have access to that 2 clicks away, and from all things that they can think of. So that is so accessible that everyone have access to it, even like younger person that don't like, they don't belong there, right? But like 12 years old are on these sites and fapping themselves to this. And I'm not making stuff up. I did actually research, and there's someone at 10 years old that actually went on the site and actually fapped. So I didn't even know that at 10 years old you could be doing this. But imagine yourself at 10. What were you doing at 10? For myself at 10, I was probably at school and I was probably still playing with toys, right? I was playing maybe with Spider-Man. I was playing with cars. I was playing with things. This was my childhood. And the childhood of a 10 years old now is to go on corn sites and fuck himself to naked women that have 18, 19, 20, maybe sometimes 30, right? I don't know what he fapped to, but you kind of know if you're still fapping right now that most of the content there is kind of fucked up, right? Stepsisters, stepmom, things like that. Maybe, just maybe, right? That he found a topic like that. So at 10, you're fapping to stuff like this. Kind of see where all of this is going, right? It's big problems. And all of this because it's so popular right now. Everyone is talking about it, but no one's telling others that they're actually trapped in this. And you don't realize you're trapped in this until what? Until you try to actually quit. And that's the whole point. Why would you quit if you like this? And if you don't try to quit, you will never realize that you're trapped in it. So what happened is that people are just living their life as I was before I realized that it was a trap, right? As the same thing applied for me. I at a point realized that this was bad for me. And at this point, I realized, oh, then I want to quit, right? I don't want to put bad things in my life. As every normal person that lives in their life, you don't want bad, right? You want good. You want good for you. You want good for others. So what happened? If you know that something is bad for you, then you won't want it in your life. So that was my process of thinking. So I tried to remove it. And it's when I tried to remove it that what happened, I figured out, oh, there, I'm trapped. I can't even get out of this. And it's at that point that I was searching for help. But what happened? When I was searching for help, I didn't find any help. There wasn't help. And I promised to myself that what happened, when I will get free, I will actually become the person that I needed once when I realized that all of this was a lie. Because what I heard on internet is doctors telling you like, yeah, it's great. You should fap at least once or twice every week. Yes, it's great if you don't overconsume it. Yes, and I kept on hearing people telling yes, it's good, yes, it's good. Even friends telling yes, it's good, yes, it's good. So imagine if everyone around you tell you that something is great, you will kind of become someone that will do it. And by becoming someone that will do it, you won't doubt that maybe it's not great. Because everyone around you is telling you that it's great. And if everyone around you that you have trust in them tells you that it's great, why would you doubt their decisions? And that becomes to a point where, at a point, it's not even someone close to me, it's me wanting to become someone greater. I started self-development, and as a self-development thing, one of the first things that you hear about is nofap. So what happened is that I started reading because that was interesting me a lot. Because everyone around me was telling me, yes, it's great, yes, things like that. Like, they were not coming and telling me directly like, yes, Wesley, you should fap. Like, that's not what's happening. But you still get the point. In little discussions, sometimes people just tell like a joke about it, right? But they just do it. And by this, you kind of see that, oh, okay, this subject can make others laugh. And after you start maybe talk with them about the corn stars. And what happened? Oh, okay, so having knowledge in that topic might make me friends. And that's how you kind of develop this sense of, oh, this might be important in my life throughout school. And this is kind of fucked up if you think about it. But that's really how it goes sometimes. And if you just develop this addiction later in your life, it might be different. But this, I'm actually telling a bit of my story. Because I first started not because I was curious by my own. It was because someone made me curious in it. And after being curious, me as a curious person in life, I'm really curious about all of things. What happened? I wanted to make research. So I just searched a little bit. it's so accessible that I found a video directly. I was like 14 or 15. And what happened? Click on the video, watch it, came, and now I got pleasure. So why should I stop? Everyone around me is telling me that it's good. I'm receiving so much dopamine from it, and I find it pleasurable. So why should I stop? Right? And this might be your situation right now. So you need, like I needed, someone to tell you that it's not great. And maybe make your own research on it also, because maybe only my words are not enough, right? You might not even trust me. For you, right now, I'm a nobody. You don't really know me, even though you know maybe my name because I mentioned it like in all of my videos. You don't really know me personally, right? We're not friends, we don't really know each other, and we have our own lives. But just, if you could just take my words that I said in this video as a kickstart for you to actually start this journey of trying to find the lie that you've been told, trying to counteract this lie, and actually find what's the good answer. Is it good or is it bad for you? This, I would be really glad to have made this change in you. This was kind of off topic, but I'll go directly in the topic again. You get so much dopamine from this addiction to corn that what happened at a point, you need more. And on that, I'll actually take another example with cigarettes. What happened is that at first, when you first smoke a cigarette, you only need one cigarette and you're done, right? You feel so much pleasure from this one cigarette because it's new. But at a point, after maybe 1 week, one cigarette isn't enough anymore to give that same kind of pleasure that you had when you first did it. And that's the new kind of bore that you need to get to feel pleasure. So at first it was just one, it was okay. Then you need two in order to reach that same level of pleasure. Because just one cigarette is only giving you this now. And now maybe it gives you this. So you need 4 cigarettes in order to reach that same pleasure. Because as humans, we seek pleasure. And we seek that high level of pleasure. Now you need 8, now you need 16. And that's how people, after many months of you smoking and smoking, this is how people get to 2-3 packs a day, right? Sometimes you might have heard like, oh, my grandpa smokes 2 packs a day, and they're like, oh wow, how? Because the only thing that you think about is how do he find the time in his life to smoke 2 packs a day? Like, that's, I don't know, but it's a lot of cigarettes, right? And I was part of that until I became a coach on addiction, and I realized that, oh yes, and it's great that he stopped at 2, because there's people that gets to 4, that gets to 8, and at a point they can't even get to the point that they feel as pleasurable as before. So it's before you actually know about it or become addicted to one of the many addictions that you can have in life, that you realize that actually it's possible and it can also happen to you. So I'll continue the example, because the dopamine that you get from one cigarette isn't as high as the first time you tried it. So every time you tried it, the amount of pleasure you get kind of goes downwards. And what happens is that at a point, the amount of dopamine that you get from one cigarette isn't worth almost anything, right? Maybe that at first, the first cigarette you smoke, it was kind of 100 value points, right, of dopamine. But now, as you smoke more and more, this value points drops to a point where it's like maybe 5 value points. And now you need, in order to reach 100 value points, you need 20 cigarettes, 25 value points cigarettes. But at a point, the cigarette will be worth like 1 point. So now you need 100 cigarettes in order to reach that goal. And not everyone wants to waste $100 maybe on 100 cigarettes. I don't know it's how many dollars. As you kind of see, I'm not like specialized in cigarettes, but the example applies the same. So you kind of need more and more, and maybe not everyone is ready to spend dollars in order to buy 100 cigarettes every day, right? Not everyone has this kind of sum of dollars. So what happened? They limit themselves at maybe 30. So 30 a day is maybe their maximum. It's, I think, 1 pack. But what happened? Maybe 1 pack isn't as pleasurable because you're kind of getting used to it. So what happened? Now you're not even feeling pleasure, but in order to feel a little bit of pleasure, you still need to smoke that pack. Because if you don't smoke that pack, you will feel miserable. You will feel like you're trash, like you don't deserve to live. You will feel all these bad thoughts Because what happened? Now you use your brain to getting this dopamine. So in order to live, your brain needs that dopamine. And because you got so high of dopamine levels, now if you stop consuming this, what happened? Your brain is too used to getting these. So now you feel like you're doing something wrong in your life. And this feeling isn't pleasure, right? It's not cool having this feeling. So your brain, as a normal brain, tries to find answers. And your answer is to stop trying to quit and restart consuming, because you found that this was pleasurable. So it reminds you of the pleasure that you felt when you were doing your addiction in order to kind of put you back on this addiction, because that's the answer to why right now you're feeling unwell, why right now you're feeling bad. And your brain doesn't want you to feel bad. Your brain wants you to survive, as it was programmed to. So that's the vicious cycle that happens. And the way to counteract it is either fight through the urges for at least the time that your brain kind of becomes healthy again, because he can be healthy again, but it takes time. And it takes time without the substance, without the thing, the addiction. If you put the addiction back in, what happens is that your brain will stay unhealthy. And by your brain staying unhealthy, what happens is that it will keep on using this bad dopamine that you get. And this bad dopamine coming directly from your addiction is what's actually fueling the unhealthy brain that you have, and makes it even more unhealthy, even more needing more and more dopamine each time. And at a point, this is how people go so deep into addictions. They need other addictions in order to feel their pleasure of the first addiction that they had. So that's how I actually had someone like kind of relatively close to me that was addicted to cigarettes, was addicted to alcohol, and was addicted to drugs and corn at the same time. And the process of all of that is because it all started with one addiction, and in order to fuel this one addiction, he then went to a second one, then a third one to fuel the two others, and then a fourth one to fuel all these three. I don't remember the order, but I remember that this was the story. I don't want you to be in that case. And getting someone out of this vicious cycle of these four addictions together, this is so hard to get to. You get them through that I want you free before you experience this, before you're there and wasting 2 hours every day just searching for videos. Because this will happen at a point. If you continue your addiction, you will get to a point where you will take many videos and you will put that in line in the tabs. And this is in order for you that the moment you finish one video, you just have to click X and you have a new girl, or maybe the same girl, it's to your likings, right? The same girls or a new girl naked already with a video that you know in advance that you will like, because you kind of lined them up. So what happened? You maybe have 1 hour of content prepared in advance, like 6 videos in advance, and you know that if the first one you don't like, X, next one. Next one didn't make you come. All right, next one. This one neither. Next one, and you have this. And if at the end you don't have at the end of the 6 you don't yet come, what happened? Now your standards for the video drop. You just need a video to come, right? So you try to go and pile up as many videos as you can in order for you to come. And that's the point where you actually you don't even realize that you're stuck, but it's kind of there you realize that you were deep, because at the start you weren't doing this, right? When you first started consuming this, you weren't lining up multiple videos of fucked up stuff. You probably just watched the first video you saw on the front page. Now you're actually searching in the board, lining up videos on the board in private mode. And what happened? Maybe that even after lining up all these videos, it's been 1 hour that you're searching, you lined up all these videos, it's time to come and you don't even come. So now you have to put in another hour of searching just to feel a little bit enough pleasure in order for you to come. And what happened? Sometimes you will watch the first and the second video and you won't even get hard. It's getting to that point. It never happened to me, right? But I'm just telling because I hear a lot of stories. You can kind of guess that I have clients, I have people to talk to, and I hear a lot of stories. It's getting to that point. Sometimes you need 5 videos just to get hard. It's not even stroking, right? You're doing nothing to it. 5 videos just to get her because it's not exciting enough. What happens if you do this in real life? You have a girl in your bed naked, she's there, you love her, right? You find her really attractive. But when it's time to do the thing, you know deep down that she's not as attractive as those girls you see online every day. And even if you don't really know it deep down, your unconscious knows it. Your dopamine levels knows it. What happened? It's time to do the thing, and you won't get hard. And that's not because it's erectile dysfunction or people call it this. Like this exists, right? But it's not, at this point, it's not that. It's because your dopamine levels aren't getting high enough from that girl. And that's because you're used to getting so high of a dopamine level from each corn videos. You're so used to seeing naked women that you don't even get excitement from this one. Like she's just a girl she's just a girl like everyone, right? She's just a girl and you have other girls to fuck and you fuck girls every day. So it's not special to you anymore. You're so used to it that you won't get hard. And this experience, feeling this fear of you not getting hard the first time you will try to do stuff with your girl, you will remember it all every day. That didn't happen to me, but it happened to a friend that I have. And he still talks to me about it. Like he still remembers it. And if it's been 5 years, it's been 5 years that it happened. Like it's not that big, right? 5 years old, like it's not that big, but he still remembers it to this day. And it's 5 years, but it's 5 years because it's just been 5 years. In 25 years, if I'm still friends with him, I ask him about this, he will surely remember it. This was this kind of stuff. And I don't want you to be in this. But I can't decide for you. I can only offer the information that I have, and try to guide you into the right path. So the action from this point is on you. What do we decide to do? I'm open, I'm there, but it's the ball is in your hands. So do what you want with it. Take care of yourself. That's that.